Welcome to Activate Your Life. I am your host, Erin Esser, and I believe that life isn't a battleground. It's a playground of possibility, where self-sabotage is transmuted into self-mastery. On this show, I share tools such as human design, astrology, inner child, and shadow work that help you disrupt your unconscious programming so that you can begin to experience the life that you desire. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the subscribe button to receive valuable information each week that will change your life. Thank you for joining me and welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by my course, Activate 2021. This is a 7-week masterclass that begins to disrupt your unconscious patterns so that you can start to show up for yourself in a confident and empowered way. For more information, go to erinesser.com/activation-masterclass. Again, that's erinesser.com/activation-masterclass. Are you ready to be the owner of your life? Today is November 28th, 2020, and I wanted to talk to you today about 2 things that will prevent you from changing. We're at the end of 2020. Can you believe it? It's been quite an intense year. I don't know how it's been for you, but it's been an amazing year for me and an incredibly challenging year at the same time. It's been an incredibly expansive year, and I've also felt extreme restriction as well. And this is the year, at least for myself, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but at least for myself, this year of 2020 has really shown us ourselves. It's shown us the fear that we have in ourselves. It's shown us who we are, and are we willing to face ourselves? To me, this is the purpose of life, is moving out of a battleground place and stepping into our own playground of possibility. And if we want to step into 2021 feeling more grounded, more safe, full of more peace than what we had in 2020, that's an inside job. And I'm going to share with you 2 things today that are going to prevent this from happening for you, and an invitation at the end. The first thing is I can relate fully to this. Well, to both of these, I can completely relate to. The first thing is that's going to prevent you from truly living and experiencing the life that you want, that you desire. The purpose is reading all the books, right? Listening to all the audios, watching all the videos, doing all of the quote unquote right things to do for your growth. Maybe you have learned a new energy modality this year or over the last few years. Maybe you do a lot with, crystals or sound healing, things like that. Any kind of conscious engagement. I was here about between 2013 or so and 2015. And I was reading all the right books. I was listening to all the right things. I was getting all jazzed up, in different audios. I was like, yes, this is the life I want. I can feel it. Feels good. And then life would throw me a curveball. And I didn't know how to handle that. And I came undone. I would immediately get triggered by something that would happen in life. It could even just be an email, a bill that I, maybe wasn't expecting. Maybe it was more than what I had thought. Something happened with one of my kids. Something happened with something in their class. Something happened with one of my clients. Something happened with, one of my businesses that I had back then. It would literally flip upside down, and my nervous system completely off kilter. And I wasn't able to focus then on myself for sometimes, 3-4 days. So I don't know if you can relate to this, but if you're reading all the right books, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's great things. I still read all the, I still read the books. I still listen to the audios. I still do all of these things. What I realized though is I was missing a critical piece in this puzzle of self-growth, self-development, really stepping in and embodying life as a playground, this movement that I'm creating, that life is a playground of possibility. I'm going to share with you about that here in a minute, but about what that is. But just know that if you are in this space of, like I said, doing everything that you think you need to be doing, but you get rocked when life happens, it's okay. Here's why. Because there's two different parts of our brain, and I'm going to simplify this. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist, a psychologist. But what I do know is that there are two parts of our brain. And the most simple way I can explain this, the easier it's going to be for you to receive it. So we have the conscious and the unconscious. The conscious mind is what you are engaging in, right? When you're reading those books, when you're listening to those audios, when you're doing all those things, you're engaging your conscious mind saying, yes, yes, yes. But that's like very little of what we live out of in our day. Majority of our life, we live out of the unconscious. And the unconscious is between birth, and some people say it's even, before birth, but it's from, when we were born, at least, possibly before, up until at least 7 years old. Some people say between 10 and 14 years old. The unconscious is developed first. And what happens is when we're little, we literally learn how to live. It's like we learn how to be a human being based on the human beings in our life between birth and, 7 to 14. So if you think back to your childhood, if you think back to your caregivers, if you think back to your teachers, if you think back to, everybody that was in your life, what did you learn? What were some of those, your caregivers' beliefs about life, about money, about relationships, about, just people in general, everything? We're a sponge at that age, and we just soak everything in, and we literally become programmed by our childhood and what happens, how we're treated, what we hear, everything. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just what happens. So if our unconscious mind is developed first, and then our conscious mind is developed on top of our or not on top, but like after, it's a later development. Then our unconscious mind is literally our identity. It's where we hold all of our beliefs. It's where we hold all of our patterns and all of our programming. And that's running 95% of all of our decisions are those beliefs. So unless you disrupt the program that's running in the unconscious, it doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many audios you listen to. It doesn't matter how many videos you watch. It doesn't matter how many conferences you go to. Nothing's going to shift. It might for a short time until life throws you a curveball. But it's not going to shift permanently and lifelong because you haven't disrupted the unconscious programs so that you can challenge these limiting beliefs that are driving the behavior. So this is why you can be, at this conference, you're, just like jazzed up. You're making all these changes in your life. You're like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home. I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to talk to my kids differently. I'm going to show up for myself differently. I'm going to, take some time to do some self-care. I'm going to talk to my spouse differently. I'm going to be a completely different human being. And our conscious mind is completely agreeing with that. It's like, yes, it's excited. And then we get triggered by something. Life shows up, throws us a curveball, like I've said. And then boom, we go right back and we go back to sleep into the unconscious that's running 90 to 95% of our life, which is the patterns and the programs. So until those are targeted, until those are disrupted, until we can learn to bring consciousness in and shine a light on the unconscious and bring it to the surface, we will never be able to fully show up for ourselves in the most conscious way. And this is how, one of the ways that we can start to live more of a fulfilled and purposeful life, because we have to be aware of our programs. We have to. There's no other way around it.
This episode is brought to you by my course, Activate 2021 Masterclass, a 7-week masterclass that begins to disrupt your unconscious patterns so that you can start to show up for yourself in a confident and empowered way. For more information, go to erinesser.com/activation-masterclass. Again, that's erinesser.com/activation-masterclass. Back to the show.
The second thing that's going to help prevent you from making this change, if you want more peace, more fulfillment, more purpose in your life, feeling more grounded, right? More safe in 2021, more empowered, more authentic, all of these things, right? Is arguing for your limitations. So when I say this, arguing for your limitations is all of the reasons that you have to not do something that you know is actually good for you. All of the reasons that you say, I can't take care of myself. I can't, take time out today to do self-care because I have X, Y, and Z. All of those reasons. I don't call them excuses. You can if you'd like. I do every once in a while, I guess, but for this purpose, I'm not going to call them excuses because they may be very real. These reasons. I'm a single mom. I get it. I'm a single mom of 3 kids. I get 4 days out of the month to myself. So I don't have a lot of time to, one-on-one time for myself to do a whole lot of anything. I have a few different businesses. I have a home that, again, single mom, 3 kids, lots of running around to do with them. I have all these things. But yet, you know what? My values, I still spend time for myself. I take time for myself and I communicate these things to my kids. And there are some things now that I do not make any exception on because if I'm going to show up for myself the way that I want to show up for myself, if I want to show up for my kids the way that they need me to show up, if I'm going to show up for my life the way that I know I'm here to show up for, if I argue for my limitations, if I argue for my smallness, if I argue for my excuses, I'm never going to get there. So take a look in your life and start to ask yourself, what do you want in your life? What do you want for 2021? Do you want more peace? Okay. So then you can ask yourself the question, if it's you want more inner peace, ask yourself, all right, what excuses, what's getting in the way, what's blocking you from actually experiencing more inner peace? And most often, you're going to find the blocks are self-imposed. They're the reasons. They're the quote-unquote, reasons you can't do this, or the quote-unquote excuses of why you can't do something. And like I said, they may be very valid. And if we're going to have something different in our life, if we're going to have a different experience, we have to start doing things different. We have to start showing up for ourselves in a different way. We can make excuses and we can have reasons that we can't do X, Y, and Z and stay in those stories. And that's fine. Or you could have more inner peace. You could have more fulfillment. You could have more passion. You can feel more grounded. It's really your choice. So one of the exercises that I do for myself, and I'm going to share this with you now, is I listen to a woman, her name is Lacey Phillips, and she talks about expanders a lot. And so I want you to just, if you're somewhere where you can close your eyes, or, if you're driving, obviously don't close your eyes. If you're in a place where you can just take a few moments to just think about a few people that inspire you. Think about a few people that you look up to. Think about a few people, you don't have to know them personally. They can be, somebody that's famous, or they could be a friend of a friend, or, they could be somebody that but they don't have to be. Just any person or a few people that you admire, you look up to. And I want you to think about them, and I want you to think about the qualities that you actually see in them. What is it why do you look up to them? Are they brave? Are they powerful? Are they courageous? Are they wise? Are they inspirational? What is it about this one person or a few people that makes you look to them and go, wow, I really, really love that person. I love listening to them. I love watching them. I love what they do. What is it about them that you love, that you look up to? And After you have that, what I want you to then do is ask yourself the question, whenever you're being faced with something, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to expand, an opportunity to change a current perspective, I want you to ask yourself this question. Whatever qualities came up in the person or people that you thought of. So I'm going to use this as an example. I'm going to use like bravery. Say it's bravery that came up, or inspirational, right? So the question that I want you to ask yourself, whatever qualities came up for you, is what would a person who is brave, courageous, wise, powerful, whatever those qualities are for you, how would a person that embodies these qualities show up for this right now? What would a person that embodied these qualities, how would they make this decision right now that I'm facing? So you're literally now making a decision in a state, in an expanded state. You're literally making a decision for yourself, a choice for yourself from a different level of consciousness, a different level of awareness versus old programming, right? Versus our stories, versus the limitations that you perceive to have. You're asking, okay, if I embodied this bravery that I see in this person, or this inspiration, man, they're so inspirational. If I owned that for myself, how would somebody that owns that for themselves show up for this? What decision would they make in this? Because the qualities that you see in somebody else, they're in you. That's why you see them. That's why that they inspire you. That's why that's why you're attracted to them. That's why, because you see them in yourself as well. Well, you don't see them in yourself. You see them in another because you haven't seen them in yourself yet. So I wonder what could happen if you started to make decisions for yourself based on those qualities that you see in someone or other people that light you up. I wonder how your life could change in 2021. So thank you for tuning in today. This is short and sweet. And I do have an invitation for you. January 11th, 2021, I am starting a 7-week masterclass called Activate 2021. The sign up is now. And this is going to be a powerful class. It's going to be simple, simple, simple. Activation of being able to release your conditioning. I'm using human design as a foundational platform in a way that I've never seen human design used before, to evoke the curiosity and the courage within you to break and disrupt the programs that are running in the unconscious. Remember, the number one thing I said in this podcast was, this is one of the things that's going to prevent you from actually changing, is not disrupting the programs that are running in the unconscious. So in Activate 2021, that starts on January 11th, you are going to learn about how you're conditioned. You're going to understand some of the basics of human design, and you're going to understand it from your own design. And I'm going to be bringing into you, we're going to use questions instead of gurus and Google to activate within you what's already in you, so that you can now bring consciousness into your, into the autopilot moments of your life and start to change how you show up for yourself. And when you start to disrupt the programs and change how you show up for yourself, you change your life. So go to my website, erinesser.com, ERINESSER, and sign up today for Activation Masterclass. It's only $111. It's super cheap. It's 7 weeks. You're going to be in a Facebook group, a supportive Facebook group, supportive class that I'm going to be holding this container for, that I'm going to see you in this highest ability that you are. You may not see yourself in that yet, but I'm going to hold you up to that space so that you can start to show up for yourself in a different way. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. Share it with your friends and family who could possibly get some value from this as well. And remember to do the exercise if you haven't done it already. And go to my website, erinesser.com, and sign up for Activation Masterclass today. See you later.
Thank you for joining me on today's show. To learn more about Activate Your Life podcast and my YouTube channel, just go to erinesser.com. If you want to learn how to activate your 2021, join the Activate 2021 Masterclass at erinnesser.com/activation-masterclass. Download the free gift at erinnesser.com/healthy-boundaries. That is all for now. We'll see you next week.